Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. What's happening, people? Jason P., good to see you. Rolling Stone, glad that you're here. Chris and Melinda, how are you? Jason P., my brother. I'm glad that you are here. All right, people, let's fire this thing up, huh? We're not going to spend a whole lot of time farting about, you see, because we've already burned a little of the midnight oil. Sweet Liberty, good to see you. And I'm not going to run too late now tonight. West Coast Fancy Nancy, I'm glad you're here. Live for now, good to see you. Chow Yun Smut, Cricket, always an honor. Goosebump and Brazy, Crafty Witch, Miss Sunrise Dawn, Anne from Massachusetts. Hello to you. Tell you what, people. Sierra Terry, what's up? I ate this big barbecue sandwich today. Lynn Sanity, glad you're here. I ate this big barbecue sandwich that and it's actually awesome, right? It's really good stuff. The restaurant's great. I ate there with everybody here. That's where we went when we did the our gathering. Hey Mary, good to see you. That's where we did the meetup. So I had one the other day. Sat with me beautifully. Really enjoyed it. Today, both Quibble and I both. It just didn't sit well. Oh, Brazy, I'm sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. But if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow's Tuesday, right? That's a big day for you. So we're going to keep our chin up tonight, right? And tomorrow we're going to start life all over again, right? Tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life. It's not just a cliche. Honestly, how often is that really the case? And tomorrow it is. Oh yeah, I know. Asshats, they're a dime a dozen, sadly. And a lot of people who are really great people sometimes asshat out for a little bit. This happens to the best of us. Sorry, I'm polishing up the old glasses. Lisa from Jersey shows up. I'll be in trouble. Iced Autumn, there you are. Now I can see you. Need some prayers? And you know what? Thoughts and prayers are a great idea. That is for our friend Brazy. And you know what? We're going to be talking about forgiveness today. We were just over on my other channel. Kim is Blue, good to see you. We were over on my other channel. We started talking about Scientology, as we often do. And L. Ron Hubbard said, you do not ever forgive. By the way, they teach this to 3-year-olds. You do not ever forgive because it accepts the badness of the act. Let's say that again. You do not ever forgive because it accepts the badness of the act. Hello, Just Pauline. Beverly, how are you? Diarrhea Ghost. It accepts the bad of the act. You can't say, I forgive you without, according to Lafayette Ronald, I got breath like a goat Hubbard, right? According to him, if you say, I forgive you, you are accepting what the person did. Does anybody buy this crap? Is that why Tom Cruise is such a jerk, Rolling Stone? Not a bad guess if it's not, right? We will forgive you if you don't hit that like button, says Incarnate Soul. Good to see you, Incarnate Soul. Well played. And I will forgive you if you don't hit it. I'll forgive you if you go over there and leave a really crappy comment. I don't care. I'll probably delete it, but I'll forgive you. Tom Cruise is a bum. Make no mistake. Tom Cruise is a bum. So here's the deal. It's a frightening concept to me that we could tell people at that age that forgiveness is bad. I mean, good God. One of the first lessons I learned as a child, I believe sharing was number one. I believe the first lesson, and I'm not necessarily thinking back to me as much as I'm thinking back to Spanx, right? I was super intimately involved in raising my son. I was, my daughter, I wasn't there for that. But with Spanky, I was there every single day. And I remember the first thing that we taught him was that, you know what, you share toys, right? You don't, that me thing that all 2-year-olds, you got to break them of that, right? You do, because it's not healthy. It's normal. All kids are like that. But then you got to kind of start teaching them stuff so that they don't grow up to be little savages. But the concept of forgiving someone, good God, man. I forgive you means I release myself from the pain you instilled in me. Damn straight. The thing that I get all the time when I do shows on forgiveness, I'm going to inevitably get an email tomorrow. I guarantee it, because I always do. And it's going to be from somebody who has been SA'd. And I'm not making light of anything. You understand me? God help us. I understand that that's probably the hardest thing in the world to be able to forgive. I know that we think that that only happens to women, but that's not necessarily the case. And um, I had this something happen to me as a kid that I did not give the person a pass. What the person did was reprehensible and disgusting, makes them a bad human being. Cooler by the lake, good to see you. Shelly Kelly, good to see you. It made them a bad person, right? I didn't do anything wrong. They did. But for a very long time, I didn't forgive them. And when I didn't, they lived in my head, right? They lived in my head. And if I got alone with a woman, their head, they would start to pop up in my head, right? And I don't need that. I really don't need that. So I started going to counseling. I started doing all kinds of other stuff. I got my therapist, Chris, and I started working with Chris full time. And I learned that I could forgive this woman and still hate her. There's nothing wrong with me hating her and what she did. But to forgive the act was to get her out of my dome. And I didn't forgive her by saying it's okay. I personally, I have my set of beliefs are pretty etched in stone. So I gave that situation away from me. Whatever is going to happen to her is going to happen to her, and it's not going to happen because of me. I'm done. I'm done. And unless I'm talking about the actual situation, and there are times that it comes up because of what I do here. Sometimes we talk about it, yeah. But if I'm not talking about it, she's not in my dome. She's gone, and that to me is a gift, right? It's the greatest gift in the world. Hey, Monk, good to see you. West Coast Fancy Nancy. Hey, see that? I knew she was going to show up. Lisa, good to see you. Bridget Alexander, I'm so glad you're here. I am going to just listen tonight. It's been a rough, long, emotional day. Thank you, everyone that reached out. Love and ones to all that need them tonight. Lynn Sanity, I'm so sorry that you've had a tough day. Whatever happened to hate the sin, love the sinner? Explains a lot about this organization. Damn straight. You know, back in the day, the Lifeboat, if you go back and watch some of the really early shows, I'd say maybe a couple of months after we monetized. So like 4 months into the show or something like that. We used to have a banner around the outside that said, hate, don't hate the haters, hate the hate. Because it's a very real thing. And you can start to get dragged down by all of that. That hate can start to own you. I'm not letting the hate own me. You feel me? I'm not letting hate own me in any way. Well, Breezy, I'm putting it up. No offense. But if you put it up, I kind of figure I can. Daniel McCoy, good to see you. Live for now, good to see you. I'm not upset with you, Brazy. You know the drill. I'm not at all upset with you. We understand where you're at in this process, right? Everybody here understands where you're at in this process, and for that reason, nobody here is upset with you, right? But because you are aware of where you are in this process too, and you're absolutely acutely aware of it, because the things you say make it very clear that you're aware of it. You're not living in denial in any way, shape, or form, right? You're very aware of what's going on. You've told us a lot of times. So, hey, Squirrel Girl, yeah. So the next step then, when you're aware, is to get help, and you do that by asking. And you've asked here, and we know that tomorrow you're going to ask. So you're not effed. You're going to get through to tomorrow. And tomorrow you're going to go in and hey, Mara, you're going to go in tomorrow and you're going to talk to the doctor and you're going to tell him it's bad. Here's how much I'm doing. Here's what I'm mixing it with. But you're taking 2 respiratory depressants, love. You're taking 2 rowdy respiratory depressants. And that's a frightening thing. And I care deeply for you. And I don't want anything to happen to you. Right? I really don't. And it's super important to me. And I don't bust people's chops. I give people as much time and everything else that they need. News Nut, good to see you. Becky Lynn, how are you? I never ever beat on people for what they're going through, because I've been there and done that, and it sure as crap doesn't help anyway, does it? Right? So that's not what I'm doing. Three respiratory depressants. Okay, so I'm guessing that you're either taking a pain med or you're taking something like Lunesta or something to help you sleep, yeah, or something like that, or trazodone or something that's something that is at least the third respiratory depressant. And people, if you're out there and you're doing it, I'm not picking on you, Brazy, I'm just talking to everybody. But if you're out there right now and you're doing multiple respiratory depressants, every time you add another respiratory depressant to what you're bringing into your body, you understand the concept? Depressed, right? Respiration, your breathing gets slowed down. And it's not a great way to describe it if you really want to know the truth, right? It's not. By the way, Linsanity, I didn't forget you. I'm coming back. It's really flurazepam, Zoloft, and clonazepam. I want to tell you something. Flurazepam is not one that I'm familiar with, but it's a benzo. I can tell you because of the anytime Pam's name is in it, it's going to be a benzo. Now, flurazepam, fluinitrazepam, right? It's got a couple of more letters. Rohypnol is fluinitrazepam. Rohypnol, the date rape drug, was a benzo, super strong benzo. When it went away, the strongest benzo left was clonazepam. The Zoloft, on the bright side, that is sertraline. And to be honest with you, the Zoloft is probably doing a great deal to protect you, right? That's a stimulant. It's not probably designed to be one, but it absolutely acts like one in the body. Sertraline is, it's the only one of what you listed that's not taking you this way. So, but alcohol does flurazepam. Can you give me the name brand on that one? I'm not a doctor, by the way. I don't pretend to be one. Lorazepam is Audubon. Yeah, I knew that. But I don't know what flurazepam is. That one I've not heard of. Yeah, okay. Well, that grazing. You're taking 3 respiratory depressants, and this is why you are having a trouble breathing. Now, there you go. Thank you, Kristen Melinda. Guess what? We wouldn't do this south of the border, and that's why this freaked me out a little bit, right? Giving somebody flurazepam as a sleeping pill, right? It's like taking a Coke and a Pepsi, right? Honestly, you're taking that and you're taking, holy crap. Yeah, I mean, they've got you on, Brazy, if you can't breathe right now, love, you need to call 911. I'm serious. If you're having a hard time breathing now, you need to go right now and talk to a doctor, because those 3 can kill you. Stop watching us and call a doctor. If you can't breathe, that's what you need to do right now, please. No, Klonopin is clonazepam, and it's a pretty rugged drug. I know I'm really good with most of the benzos. In fact, I damn near know all of them, except that one doesn't get a whole lot of use down here. But it's not a great idea for a hey, I don't necessarily need you to go to the psych ward, love. Maybe the emergency room would be a better bet, right? I'm not suggesting you go to a psych ward. I want you to be able to breathe. Just a medical thing, not a psychological thing. I'm not upset with you psychologically at all. You know, I'm just worried about your health, right? Your psyche, we can piece all that together tomorrow when you go see your doctor. But we need to keep you breathing until then. And yes, Audubon, that's exactly right, Lisa. But 3 of those is really, you're just you're scaring me a little because of what you're taking, right? And you put alcohol on it. and it's not. So the respiratory depressants, if you've taken 2 drinks, it's not like 3 respiratory depressants. It's now like 4 respiratory depressants or 5 respiratory depressants or 6, because 1 plus 1 equals no. Narcan will not do anything for this. Narcan works on the mu receptor. It knocks the opiates that attach to the mu receptor. It knocks them off. This, however, is a benzodiazepine. All of them. Well, 2 of the 3 are benzos. Anything that ends in PAM is part of the benzodiazepine family, and that is a class of drugs that replaced barbiturates. So for those of a specific age that remember Seconal and Tuinal and Quaaludes, methaqualone, all of those, we did away with them because they killed a lot of people. They were a very easy drug to make a mistake on and not wake up from. A lot of rock stars it happened to. And now every place on planet Earth has gotten away from using barbiturates. Most countries do not use them anymore. I think the only place I know that still sells something that resembles a Quaalude is South Africa with their Mandrax. Mandrax is a foreign version of methaqualone, but it does the exact same thing in the body. You don't have to, Brazy, you don't have to apologize for freaking us out, but we're all friends. That's Narcan does not work on benzos. It does not. There's an antidote for benzos. There is an antidote for benzos, but you're not going to get it over the counter. They do have, they got a drug that will do the same thing for benzos that Narcan does for, there's been a lot of talk about them trying to, because of the xylazine, the crap that they're mixing into to make trank, they're mixing it in with the painkiller. It's closer to a benzo than anything else. It's not technically a benzo. I mean, it's made for animals, not for humans, but it's closer to that family than anything else. And they were talking about what would be the antidote. And I remember reading the name of the drug. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there is absolutely an antidote. There's a ripcord of some kind for benzos, and they would have it at an ER. Brazy, if you can breathe, great. But if you can't breathe, then you need to go to the hospital, and that's just right, just as quick as you can get there. Because when you cannot breathe, thank you. That is exactly. I think that's the word right there. If I'm not mistaken, that is what it's called. Thank you, Kristen Melinda, and thank you, Mara, and everybody else that said it. Sandy Wendy, how are you? Can't think of a better name. I'm glad that you're here. I know that I know that you're not having an easy time. For those who don't know, she's well, here you go. Let's I think that about sums it up, right? Good God, what just happened? Stick around. God help me, man. Hang on, hang on. Well, that's the weirdest that's ever happened. There we go. How's that? Bear with me. Now that ought to do it. Okay. Hey, everybody. Sorry about that. That was a little bizarre. What the am I getting an echo? I got a 5x5. Uh, yeah, 2 Tommies are not better than 1. I'll tell you that right now. Hopefully, I'm not getting an echo. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm definitely hearing a freaking echo on my side. But Yeah, double Tommy's not good. We still have 105 people here, so you guys are not getting the echo. Check this out. All right, if you're not getting the echo, I'm just going to have to disconnect my headphones. All right, there we're back. I'm just not going to use my headphones because it's doing that. You can hear me good, good, good. What I was hearing in my ear was about a second after what I hear, what I say, and that will literally drive you insane if you've got headphones in. Linsanity, I'm sorry, but you seem to be the only person that has a slight echo. So it was you and me, hon. And Linsanity, your earlier comment, in, I read these comments a lot, right? Where someone will say, I'm really having a bad night. I'm just going to lurk and listen today. If you're having a bad night, pop your head up and tell us you're having a bad night, right? Listening is great, but it's kind of suffering in silence, isn't it? It's great that you're surrounded by people that care, but if the people don't know what's wrong with you, then we can't kind of lift you up, and that's really kind of what we do. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not, and go to a shitload of school. I'm a convicted felon, right? Got my college degree while incarcerated, right? Uh, but what we do here is peer support, and if somebody pops up and says, "Hey, I'm not feeling great," then we can good insanity. You know what? It's honestly people, and guess what? Uh, the act of the act of helping people will help you in the same time. If it didn't, I would have bailed a long time ago. Don't you think? By the way, I've been talking to the captain. I don't know if he shared this with you guys or not, but I've been talking to the captain of the lifeboat. Um, and I am going to be I'm going to be back here on a full time basis. I don't know when the we're going to announce it in the next couple of days, but I'm going to have a permanent spot. It's not going to be what I was doing before. Um, yeah, and you're not going to be seeing less Spanks. You're just going to be seeing a lot more of me. We're going to be trying to get to a place where we got we got content basically around the clock. But yeah, Spanx is good. Here's the deal with Spanx. I love him more than anybody on earth, and I'm never ever going to love anybody more. I don't have the capacity to love anybody more than I love Mike. It's my son, man. He's my son, and uh, but today when I was talking to him, we have his situation figured out, and the sad thing is I feel like we could have figured it out a long time ago, but dads that's what dads do, right? We talk to our kids and then we go, damn, if you would talk to me about this. But I did the same thing to my dad. He's a great kid. He's honestly one of the best people I've ever met. Kim Roy says, I'm usually lurking because I'm helping my husband. His health has deteriorated in the last 6 months. I'm listening too, just too busy to chat. You know what, Kim Roy? That's enough. All you got to do is pop your head up and say it. I'll tell you something. It's honestly a big deal. I'll tell you why. Because now you're not just not here, right? Now, believe it or not, I may not be the brightest bulb, but I will change up my show depending on how certain people are struggling. Tommy, I'd rather you and your life experience on my side than a scholar with a doctorate any day, bro. You know what, Jason? That's a very kind thing to say. I appreciate that. I really do. And hey, chase the heat. And I'll be honest, I've had a lot of drug counselors in my life, and the best one I ever had was a convict. He was just he's a dude that went to prison. He got out. He got sober. He went and got his LDC, his licensed chemical dependency counselor license. Um, and he cared. Sadly, it was weird. I went back on vacation. I hadn't been to Texas in a long time, and I said, you know what? I'm going to stop by and see my friend because he really tried to help me get sober, right? But I was court ordered, so I was shooting dope in the parking lot before going in and talk to him. But I had to talk to him to satisfy the court. So yeah, uh, it was. And when I walked in, the older guy that ran the place, who I was not particularly close with, I said, "Hey." where's so and so? I said, I'm just back in town for a day, and I wanted to stop in and say hello to him. He said, "Come in the office. I need to talk to you." And as soon as he said it, I knew the guy was dead. Right? It was just the way he said it. I kind of knew one of those. It was one of those things. I absolutely knew the way he said it that this was not a good thing. And he said, "You know what? He died of a broken heart." And I said, "He died of a broken heart." He said, "I'm not even kidding." He said, he was part Native American, and hey, Crafty Witch, he went and hung out with some old friends, and he ended up using and just booze, but he relapsed, and he went on about a 3-day run. And he said when he came back, he never felt right. He never felt the same, and he just beat himself up about it until it basically took him off the planet. And it's hard, you know. We lost that golfer yesterday, and the word that is coming out is he could not face his family and say that he was not successful in sobriety, and that's just, man. We got to stop shaming people that stumble. We got to stop shaming people that we got to stop shaming people who relapse. Doesn't do a effing bit of good, man. It doesn't. In fact, it's a surefire way to kill your friend. This is a great question. Really is a great question. Um, in fact, it's the question, isn't it? Right? This is the question, cricket. And there are it's a somebody who works with addicts, LADC, LCDC. There's a bunch of different letter acronyms, but they all come back to the same thing. It's a drug and alcohol counseling certificate, right? Usually 2 years at a minimum, and then a crapload of time spent with clients. You have to go and put in 5,000, 10,000 hours, depending on the state. A lot of time. You really have to do a lot. But this is a question that comes up all the time. How can you work with someone? Hi, Lori Hart. How can you work with somebody, Squirrel Girl, and feel like this person understands what I'm going through if the person's never been high? Now, do they have to understand what you're going through? Right? Is can their sympathy be enough, or do they have to actually understand what you have gone through personally in order to? I don't know the answer to that. I have in my life had I had one counselor that I thought was remarkable, and I know that this person did not have a drug problem. Jimena, good to see you. Hi, Rachel. So it can be done. It can be done, but it's passenger showing says I didn't complete my addiction studies program because I am not an addict and I wasn't taken seriously, etc. Understandable. Yeah. Sadly, we want an excuse to get high, right? I've said this 1,000 times. We want an excuse to get high, and any little thing will do. It doesn't matter. My favorite excuse was my daughter because it was just such a good one. I mean, no one was giving me any crap about that one. They just weren't. I could use my daughter. Hey, they stole my kid from me. Screw you. I'm getting high. That usually shut up everybody, right? Why are you doing this? They stole my kid. But it was just an excuse. If she had not, if she had been a part of my life, I would have found a different excuse, right? But it's the exact same thing in recovery. And I will be really honest with you. The expression, the people who say, I just couldn't, I couldn't sit in that room because that person's never gotten high. What do they know? It's just an excuse. It is. It's just an excuse. It's a good one, right? People will believe it, but it's just an addict that is really happy to have an excuse because when the teacher, right, when the student is ready, then the teacher will appear. You don't have to be great at this. You just have to talk to somebody at the right time, right? I can be the best speaker in the world. I have been there. I have done that. I've done the drugs you've done. Do you know what? If you're not ready to hear it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a crap bit of difference how good I am if you're not ready to hear it. And with drugs and alcohol, you got to do it until you've done enough of it. It sounds stupid as hell. Hi, Kim can do, but it really is that way. And I think about it all the time. You know what? I think about people and go, well, he's going to go back out there and do a little more dope. Hasn't done enough, right? Going to go back out there and drink a little bit more beer because he just has not drank enough. And then they'll come back. I can't tell you how many times somebody has called and said, "Hey, man, Today I did enough. Miss Sunrise Dawn, proud of you. Tommy, only one cigarette a day. I'm using nicotine lozenges. Wish me luck. Hey, if you're down to one cigarette a day, I would say that you're doing fantastic on the harm reduction side of it, right there. Mara says, "Don't call a plumber to fix your car." Makes a lot of sense, actually. It really does. Crafty Witch says, "I'm always scared to take pain meds, etc., because I don't want to depend on them. Tonight, I have to try a new muscle relaxer, and I have put it off 2 weeks. Oh man, I hate this. I really do. I hate this. Take this in the spirit that it is intended, okay, Crafty Witch? Knock that off. Knock that off. You do you enjoy pain? I've never been a fan, and you don't want to depend on them. How's depending on pain working out for you? How's five? You're not supposed to be in pain 5 consecutive days. You're not. Treat the pain. Doesn't make you a bad person or a drug addict. Sorry, it's not. Right? What's the muscle relaxer? Just out of curiosity, what are they giving you? Is it Flexerol, um, Soma? Those are the big two that really seem to be popular. Cyclobenzaprine. Um, yeah, Flexerol is one that a lot of people, but Soma is, I think, kind of the gold standard. I can't remember the chemical name for that. Carisoprodol. Carisoprodol. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that is what it's called. Carisoprodol. Yeah, if you're in pain, treat it, right? Treat it. Well, Mara, there are people, um, there are people who do, and for some people it works, right? But just like sobriety, right? A person has to be ready um, for anything, right? Same thing, by the way. I have met individuals who were seeking knowledge. And if they're seeking knowledge about sobriety and ready for that, they will devour every single thing you get them. It's the same with anything else, including spirituality, religion, whatever. Lori Hart's heal so much better without the pain. Do you have any idea how intelligent that is? Cyclopen, the cyclobenzaprine didn't work. Methocarbamol didn't work. Now baclofen. Baclofen is I'm not a doctor. I'm just a person that's done a lot of drugs, right? I would be a lot happier with baclofen than cyclobenzaprine or methocarbamol. I'll be honest, methocarbamol I think is worthless, but that's just I never felt anything off it. Cyclobenzaprine was just one rung above worthless, honestly. But baclofen is an excellent muscle relaxer in my humble opinion. I haven't smoked a cigarette in 4.5 years. Mary, you are a champion. That is winning. Right? That is literally that calls the 25-foot tall participation trophy of the Lifeboat East. The Lifeboat West is a slightly different one. Geoplanet Jane says, "Crafty, take what you have been given as directed, and then later take that has worked for me at various times. Here's a really good rule. If you're taking the stuff the way that they tell you to take it, you're not going to get in trouble. You might not believe that, but I'm telling you the truth. Take it exactly how they tell you to take it. When you stop hurting, stop taking it. Bad things happen. You take a painkiller, and there's no pain to treat. That's how people get addicted. When they take something that's intended to treat pain and there's no pain, treat spiritual pain and it will treat emotional pain. And if you start treating spiritual and emotional pain without journaling and without coping and without talking to people and doing all that stuff, then the wheels are going to come off, right? Your life is going to start sucking really quickly. Sucks that some folks think you can't help others. The plumber to fix a car analogy is ridiculous. Doctors aren't born doctors. It's called getting an education. Well, there is something to this, right? I agree with there is something to this, but I will say it again, right? And and I will probably beat this to death, and you'll all be sick of it. But when the student is ready, right, then the teacher appears. So the person that says, "I can't learn from you because you haven't been a drug addict," does not want to get sober. They don't need they don't need to know the person that's working with them has done heroin to listen to how to get off heroin, right? The guy that got me sober was not a heroin addict, had no perspective whatsoever on what it meant to be a heroin addict or an opiate addict. Nope. He had no perspective on that. Did not stop him from radically changing my life. Now, do you know how many times I said to people, I'm not working with you. You never did dope. How are you going to sit here and tell me you know what I'm going through? Right? I'm trying to kick a 30-year heroin habit. You don't know what I'm going through. I'm not listening to you. Didn't matter. No matter who they were. I'll tell you the gospel truth. If the person walked in and said, "Hi, I'm Keith Richards. I've spent the last 50 years of my life doing heroin every day, and I just got sober. You ready to go?" I'd have gone, "Now, man. Seriously, you got no perspective. You've been famous your whole life. You had to pay for dope, right? There were chicks everywhere. You could do all the dope you want. You were never going to get in trouble with cops. You got no idea what I went through. None. Didn't matter who you put in front of me. I'd have come up with a reason why they weren't worth a crap and I needed to go back out and do another shot. It's just the way it goes, right? They don't really believe that they can't help, that they can't be helped. They just, but enough people will say it because it's the easiest thing to go for, right? Every time I've been in any group therapy in my life, the first 5 questions, right? When they open up the questions in the room, one of the first 5 questions is going to be, "What was your drug of choice?" And if that person doesn't answer that right, then the whole class is over before it ever even starts because the murmuring and the undercurrents, "Have never done a damn day of dope in their life, man, listening to this person, they don't know what the hell they're talking about." It starts, right? And it starts. I have I have worked beautifully with people that were drug addicts. Uh, Q took me before we did anything to meet somebody who had been a worse addict than me. He wanted me to see that an addict had made his way out. Right? He knew I needed to see that, but he wasn't the addict. But I I was ready. I was so ready. And I'm not saying that Q was not a great instructor because I think he's probably the best that I've ever met. Hello, Tampa B man, love you. Um, yeah, I uh, I absolutely love Q, and I think he's better at helping people get sober than anybody on earth, for real. But he wasn't a heroin addict. Mara says the alcohol and drug treatment hospital I worked at requires the director to be a recovering addict or alcoholic. It's the unique perspective that they have that resonates with you. I agree with you. And I'll tell you something. Now let's talk about this from this side, right? I am a junkie. I've done every kind of dope you can think of. It's very difficult to find somebody that has a drug of choice I didn't abuse, right? But it uh, it's amazing how people can find ways to decide that they don't want to work with me. And it's really funny because if I had a PhD from Harvard, their answer would be, um, "Hey man, you're not a junkie, right? You're somebody that learned all of this in the classroom." If I go in there and I go, "Hey man, I'm a junkie. I was a bank robber. I went to prison." He's going to go, "You got any letters after your name?" Right? You don't know any more about this than I do. Unless, of course, there's somebody in that room that wants to get sober. And then that guy's gonna look at me and go, "Yeah, man, I'm ready." Right? Talk to me. Tell me what to do. Rachel, I did not speak to Q today, but I did speak to him yesterday, and he's he's considerably um, more relaxed. And I don't think that his speech has gotten any better, but it sounds better because now he doesn't think I'm judging. That's my opinion. His mom's going to email me after this and yell at me, by the way. His mom yells at me. I love her, but it's all good. P. Taylor, P. Taylor says, "Your wisdom never ceases to amaze me, Tommy. It never ceases to amaze me that people think I'm wise. It really never ceases to amaze me." Um, and Rolling Stone says, "Yeah, that's strange too." She wasn't talking about me, but it just fit perfectly, so I was going to roll with it. You know what? It's the I didn't see the question, but more saying, how do they make sure that you really are? That's really easy, right? That is really easy because people who are not addicts, I'm never going to say they're a drug addict, not to get a job or for any other reason. If you got a paper trail that says that you've been trying to get sober because you're a drug addict, ain't nobody faking that. I promise. It's it is a scarlet letter in the best of circumstances. Society does not accept this enough that there are going to be people faking it to get a job. Not yet. Not yet. Those days are coming. I really hope that those days are coming. Frank Humphreys, what a great comment. There is high value in guiding someone to imagine their future life. Yeah, it's a getting someone to believe that they can be more than they are. That's the greatest skill that any human being can have. For real. What could you do in life that is more important than that? Making someone feel that they can get out of the rut that they're in and make their life better. Man, oh man. I'm not saying I can do it, by the way, but the people that can, that's like that is like waving a magic wand. Right? It really is. That is like waving a magic wand. Interesting concept. It's not a thing here. It's very interesting. Um, I talk a lot about at some point me, right? And we've talked long enough. At some point, you're going to you're going to get to that point where you start talking to me about something that's going to bring up the fact that um, I uh, I may have robbed a few banks and I have gone to prison. And when I tell people that, there's a light switch that changes in their eyes. I've talked about this a million times. There is a very different look that they get, right? And it's an instant thing. And it's the look is you're dangerous, right? It's not judgment. It's not anything like that. It's the look that I probably wouldn't want to be alone with this guy. And it's a painful thing, right? But I promise you, when you get to the part of a conversation where you tell someone you were addicted to heroin, there is also a complete change in the demeanor of the person that you're with. Not here, right? Not here. I can do that all day long, but and I'll tell you this: it's amazing the people that I've worked with who I then meet in person, and I find out that I freak this person out in real life. They're willing to do some videos with me or whatever, but I'm definitely I'm not their cup of tea. Uh, you know, you're absolutely right, Geoplanet Jade. And I will say this to anybody that would like you want to hear some interesting stuff by someone that's articulate as hell. I don't care if you hate him or not. You don't have to listen to anything else he does. But if you wanted to listen to someone describe the benzo fight, Jordan Peterson does a pretty good job of it. And again, I'm not talking about his politics. Not talking about. I'm talking about a junkie. Talking about how he got off. Just that. But it's pretty fascinating. You know what? It's such a great comment. Lori Hart said she's talking about her husband who walked out of a men's meeting once. He was the smartest person I've ever known, but he believed he could learn from everyone. That is what made him the smartest person you have ever known, right? Trust me. That's what made him the smartest person you've ever known. In order to learn, you have to keep an open mind. You need to learn to look at things from a different perspective since no one knows everything. And I'll tell you, the greatest the greatest things that you might learn in life may have zero to do with what the person's talking about. You understand? You kind of have to look at things. I've told this story a bunch of times, but I was working in a ski area and an old man came in. And when I say old man, I mean an old man. This guy he brought in wooden skis, right? With bare throw bindings, kind of bindings. It looks like telemark that they attach in the front with a cable that goes over the back and barely holds your foot onto the ski. Absolutely terrifying that people were actually skiing on those one time. But the old man brought it in and said, "Hey, can you put a coat of wax on these?" And I said, "Let me go back there and take a look." And I went back, and the guy that ran the shop said to me, "Hey, man, you can't work on that." Hi, Shannon Smith. I go, "What do you mean I can't work on it?" I said, "I'm just going to wax these." He goes, "They're out of DIN, DIN. What that means is that we're not allowed to work on anything if it's over a certain age because the DIN settings on the bindings, none of those things, we can't look at the book and tell what to set it to, so we're not going to get sued." So I went back out and said, "They're not going to let us work on your ski." I said, "And to be really honest, these things need to be on a wall, man." I'm not being disrespectful. I said, "It's amazing to me that you can go down a hill on these." I said, "You've gone down snowboard on this?" He said, "Son, I went down Tuckerman's Ravine on those." Now, I don't know if you guys know where Tuckerman's Ravine is, but as a skier, I knew where Tuckerman's Ravine was, and I've skied it. And I skied it on the greatest equipment the money could buy, and I'm a really good skier, and it scared the ever-loving crap out of me. I've done it more than once, never got any easier. It is that steep. I'm not kidding. When you stand on the wall, the head wall with your skis, you can put your hand on what you're skiing on. I mean, it is damn near 90%. It's about as steep as you can go and still manage to not just fall. At the top, if you pack the middle ball this and throw it, you can basically hit the parking lot. It's not technically a parking lot, but you can throw it almost. It's amazing just how steep it is. So, and you have to hike it, but not getting there any other way. It is on the back of Mount Washington because of how uh, fast and gnarly the wind is. Fastest recorded wind speeds on planet Earth. Wind speeds on planet Earth were recorded in Mount Washington. Blows all of the snow into the bowl. So in July you can still ski it. So I said, "But I'm gonna get you skis you can ski on." And he goes, "Man, I really don't want." I said, "No, listen, I'm gonna get you a pair of skis." I said, "These skis are gonna make skiing so much easier. You're gonna have a really good time." I said, "And it's on the house. You don't have to pay for it." So I got him boots because the boots he had, they were out of DIN. The toe wasn't even squared off. It was rounded. They weren't making them squared off then. So I had to get him new boots. But I did him the package I gave him. He walked in and said, "I want a demo package. What's the best equipment? This is the stuff we let you try in hopes of selling you the skis." But I set him up with everything. And while they were doing that, which took about 30 minutes to get everything, I sat and listened to this dude tell stories of the places he had skied. And when he came in to drop the skis off, which I didn't let him do because I'm a thief, I just said, "Oh, we've decided to give these to you. The gentleman that runs Snowbird thought you should have these." But I spent about another 3 hours talking to the dude. And it was just absolutely amazing. We went and had a drink. But if I had not sat down and listened to this man, I learned an unbelievable amount from this dude in a really, really short period of time. For real. It didn't have anything to do with skiing, right? Didn't have anything to do with skiing. I knew how to ski, but this dude was talking about heavy stuff, man, for real. He was talking about, and he wasn't trying to talk about heavy stuff. He was talking about his wife had passed, and he was going to do what he wanted to do, and he loved skiing. So that was what made him the happiest. And I thought to myself, "Ain't no way you're skiing the way you used to. I mean, you skied Tuckerman's Ravine at 80. You ain't skiing like that." And I said something along those lines nicely. And and he said, "Yeah, there was a long period in my life where I stopped doing all of the things that I loved because I couldn't do them as well as I used to." It Now I know exactly what he was going through, right? But if I didn't sit my happy ass down and listen to him, the lessons this man had to teach, I was a student, right? I was ready to learn, and a teacher popped up, old man with really old skis, right? It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing how often you can learn wild shit if you just pay a little bit of attention, right? One of the greatest tools that we have on earth, our greatest natural resources, is the elderly, and instead we just think they're worthless, which is really kind of sad, you know. Sorry. He was a really cool dude too, but I remember the guys literally one dudes from the shop. Man, I would have paid you $50 to take that dude away from me, you know. And I just thought, man, douche, you know. And I said, dude, do you know what Tuckerman's Ravine is? And this youngster went, where? What? I said, never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna talk to this dude. And I did Tuckerman's, man. I hiked that puppy. So I got to sell him. I said, I did that stuff. And he said, well, I was one of the first 100 down. And I said, well, I was one of the first 100 to go down on a snowboard, which I did not do very well. And I wasn't a bad snowboarder. But I got down a whole lot better on skis. I fell on the snowboard, and you've seen Bullwinkle at the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. That's what I did. I went boom, boom, like that with the snowboard on. It was unbelievable. It was like being in a carnival ride, the zipper, except you just kept getting hit in the head. Yeah, Lori Hart, right? Love listening to people talk about what they do and who they are. I always get something new, right? This is right. That's why people come here, right? That's why people do. That's why you go to any of the channels that you watch on YouTube if they're live. I mean, I had to explain this to my partner here the other day. I was explaining the stuff that we do and going live, and she said she really was of the belief that basically all YouTube channels were people sitting in front of a camera talking. That's simply not the case, right? We are the smallest percentage of YouTube. Most YouTubers do not show their face. They create content, they put the content up, but they're not, um, right? You know what? Holy hell. Hold on a second. That's where passenger shaving. That's where I know you. I know you from Instagram. I've been looking at your name for 2 days going, man, I know you from Instagram. I've been to your page on Instagram. That has been messing with me for 2 days because of the I see things and I go, man, I know this person, but I don't know where I know this person from. And I'm probably not going to say anything. I don't want to go, "Oh, I know you." I mean, especially when you can't see somebody, it just seems stupid. But that's exactly where I have definitely been to your page on the Instagram. Christine Barbo says, it is sad and it is wrong. We need them talking about the elderly. I lost my mom in 2021, and she was the only family genuinely supporting me or out of recovery from addiction. Well, you know what? I would be honored if you could. I would be honored if you could think of me as an older brother, right? Or a younger brother. I'm assuming older brother. Maybe I shouldn't always assume I'm older than everybody. But yeah, I've been here for almost 2 years since Pastor Shaney. I'll be really honest, right? Um, I believe you. I believe you. My favorite ring. I wear this ring every single day, and I know the person that gave it to me. It's a beautiful gift. but I can't tell you how many times I can't remember her name. I can't tell you how many times it happens to me, and it is so frustrating that I've literally written it in places because it's one of those that I'm never gonna be able to, my, my loss, unfortunately. I've probably told you that story. I may have had this conversation with you before, where I said, "I know your name from somewhere." So that's the kind of thing. "Oh, you were lurking." Well, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. I wondered that. It's just, it's not a name that you see a ton, right? Barbo is not a name you see all the time. So I kind of wondered that. Kristen Melinda, how have you been? Hope you're doing well. Kristen Melinda is one of my favorite people. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. She has an unbelievable sense of humor. She really does. Very quick on her feet, and it's probably not such a great thing. But I really hold that as that's an important thing. I hold that in high esteem. I guess that's probably the way to put it. Horton Fissel, how the hell you been? Huh? Good to see you. Cannibal women in the avocado jungle of death? You're making that up. You're making that up. There's no chance. Correct. We have to laugh at the bastards way. Oh man, I knew how to say that in Latin. I used to be able to say "Never let the bastards get you down" in Latin, but for the love of me, I can't remember how to say it right now. Thank you, Goosebumps. I appreciate it. You know what? I met. Uh, Why, thank you, Shannon Smith. That was a very kind thing to say. Um, I am. I'm also a fan of flight attendants. I've uh, I've known. There you go. Well played. Well played. No, I am not. It's my ex-husband's legal name and my children's name. Tommy, you look younger than me. I'm 58. Um, I don't look younger than anybody. But now I know you're lying. Um, I Yeah, I don't look. I'm amazed when I meet people that are even remotely close to my age, how much I always look older. We were joking about that on the other channel earlier because someone was having a birthday and they're about my age, and I said, "Damn, right? Highway miles, my minor city miles." I think. Hold on one second. Do. All right. Well, we can't have that, right? We can't have that. We can't have that. We're not letting the bastards win, right? I have a tattoo on my arm, Tommy, along with a bunch of gorgeous flowers that are also poisonous. Good for you. Good for you. I like it. Yeah, I know. Jason P just turned 44. Old man. Yeah, it's my kind of old. That is my kind of old. I'd be really happy with 44. In fact, I might just park and say I'm 44 for a while. No, nothing wrong with. I think you're allowed to play with your age a little bit, right? It's not a huge thing if you maybe just you embellish slightly on your age, unless you're talking to the IRS. I think it's probably not that big a deal. I did not check out the tattoo convention in Kansas City this weekend. Do you know what? Let me tell you something about tattoo conventions. I've been to about three of them, right, in my life, and it's your dad walked with dinosaurs. Uh, they always end up. They always end up with they end up R-rated really quickly. The ones that I've been to, and I don't know. I feel like I'm too old to look at 22-year-old girls with no clothes on. You know what I mean? I'm getting to be a little old for that crap. And I dig the tattoos, I dig the body art, I dig all that, but there's just a lot of really young people with not a lot of clothing on, and I think I'm just too friggin' old. I think that's what's happening. You're right. Casey says cigarettes age people and the sun does as well. And it's not just drugs and alcohol. No, no question. And hello, Elizabeth Grundy. Also, I got taken out of circulation for 13 years, right? Now, in theory, I'm not drinking, right? You're not drinking when you're in prison. I mean, you might drink once a month. If you got a ton of money, you might drink once a week, right? But it costs a ton of money to drink in prison. Not very few people can afford to do it every day. And you're not doing drugs because again, very few people can afford to do it every day. And a lot of the stuff that it just preserves you. The stress is awful, no question. The stress is real. But what's going to happen, unfortunately, is that the people that get there, this is one of the reasons that people in prison become, um, I don't want to use the word predators because it's a reason that people in prison are going to err on the side of violence, right? Honestly, it's the reason that people are going to err on the side of violence instead of on the side of kindness. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, by the way. All right. But the reason that people do this is because if if your reputation is as somebody that's not going to take any crap, if your reputation is somebody that can handle yourself, you're probably going to deal with a little less stress. The guys in there that are worried that someone's going to kick the crap out of them, right? Walk around like a fish in a feeder tank. Everybody, the biggest dude in the room, still has to deal with the stress of prison because you don't know you know, it's boredom, just nonstop, the most boring thing in the world until it snaps. And then it's no longer boring. It's super, super exciting and not in a good way. And that's I know, Shannon, it's ugly. It's Shannon says that's a very scary mindset, and it is. It absolutely is. But what happens is that's one way that people go. And one of the other ways that people go is instead of saying, I'm going to make it so that I can stand on my own 2 feet. A lot of people, and I'm not judging anybody, you got to do what you got to do. But a lot of people join a gang, and that just wasn't an option for me. Okay, that wasn't an option because that would have required me to. It would have required me to hate a bunch of people based on how they were born, because that's kind of how those gangs in there are. And man, it's too hard hating people one at a time. You know what I mean? Hating entire groups of them would just be, I don't know. It's not something I can pull off. I guess I wasn't raised that way. But, and even if I could have pulled it off at any point during my career, and I couldn't have, but I sure as hell wouldn't have been able to after meeting Q, right? That would have definitely changed that up quite a bit. You're right. We all bleed red. There's no question. Um, Do you know what, Lynn Sandy? Lynn Sandy says, I am well over 50% gray and refuse to color. 40 going on 60. Let me tell you something. This is no joke, right? Recently, um, I was with uh, I was with one of my I was with one of my friends, and we were I was picking up a prescription at a pharmacy, and there was a woman that had just walked in, and her hair was all gray. There was nothing in her hair that wasn't gray. And my friend said to me, "Man, is it me or is that woman making gray look really, really good?" And I said, "I think we've just gotten to an age." Yep, but I got nothing. I don't have any problem at all with gray hair. I'm telling you, I saw a woman that was rocking it. That was rocking it. Hate is exhausting and indifference too effective for me. You know something? I Great example, by the way. This is a huge thing, Lori Hart. I was having a conversation. I'm going to use this as a teaching thing because I think it's a great teaching lesson, right? So I'm going to roll with this one, even though I'm probably talking about somebody else. But I'm going to do that anyway, right? Um, I was once having a conversation with my partner from my other channel from Quibble, and we were not getting along. It was a long time ago. We were actually arguing over the stupidest thing in the entire world. Really, really stupid. But I said after a while, like we were talking, and I said, "Hey, are you mad at me?" And she said, or I said, "How are you feeling right now? You mad?" She said, "About you?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "No, indifferent." I went, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I'm just completely indifferent." I said, "In terms of me?" She said, "Yeah." Now, if that had been anybody else, right? I walk away with an "fu," like, I cannot believe that somebody, would say that to me. She didn't have any idea what she was saying. That word means something completely different in Scientology than it means in the real world. And if I had walked away believing that that's what she said, we probably wouldn't have a show. And it was funny. I got off the phone, right? And then I was like, there's no friggin' way that that's what she meant. But this is gives you a real good idea of Scientology in a nutshell right here, right? This is it. Because I called her back. I'm like, there's no way, man. That does not make any sense. And I called her back and said, hey, what does indifferent mean to you? And she's like, what it means to everybody. And I told her, and she's like, oh my God, no, that's not at all. That's not at all what I meant. But that stupid bastard that started that cult taught everybody a language, and unfortunately, he used a crapload of our words to create his new language. He didn't create them out of whole cloth, right? What he did instead was to start taking words that we use, right, and screwing them up. Guy's such a nozzle. Really, such a nozzle. Yeah, I'd rather be hated than indifference, right? Honestly, I mean, that's the lukewarm that gets spit out. No? Anybody get that? You are neither hot nor cold. Right, one of those. DJ Daddio, been busy with my garden. So behind with the boat. So happy to catch you live. I'm glad you caught me live too, man. Hey, your family, Mr. T. Right? This is Mr. T is like a founding member of the Lifeboat. Been there since the very beginning. DJ Daddio, and I know we know each other. Know his story, know his family story. We are friends, and hey, man, this happens a lot with people that have been on the boat a long time. Things happen where there are times that you need this like 6 days a week, and there are times you need it, one day a month. And honestly, sometimes when I don't see anybody for a week, and there's somebody that I know well, I think, you know what, they're probably doing pretty good. They're probably not stressing about anything. That's probably a great, great thing. Honestly, it's hate is not the opposite of love. Indifferent is. It's a great, great quote. But um, so what it meant to her, right, was uh, it, the way that they taught it is not that it's. I don't even know how to explain it because of the words that she used to explain it. Think about it as about right. Shannon Smith, this is what I was explaining to you. Like the line between love and hate is really pretty close, right? Honestly, if you describe how you are when you hate somebody, I think about them all day long, right? All I can do, I mean, what you want to do might be different, but you think about them all day long. It's very similar to love, isn't it? You think about the person all day, right? But no, the to her, indifference was it was almost like boredom. The best way I could probably put it was boredom. So what she was saying was, "I'm just kind of tired of the argument." That's honestly what she was trying to get across was, I'm tired of arguing. We're not getting anywhere. I'm tired of it." And I was like, "Boy, that's not indifferent. That is not at all indifferent. It's not." But he BS's the language, right? He used words that mean something. Uh, Christine, I love that. Keep popping in, please, because I've been popping into the lifeboat since 2020. Wow, it's a long time. Total lack of interest. It could be apathy, apathetic. Yeah, Yeah, apathy. But it's amazing how much this guy jacked up the English language. And you understand that for these people, how scary would it be to find out that the words you know don't mean what you think they know, right? This is not an accident. It makes it really hard to step away. Now you got to go and talk to people that don't even speak your language. Try to explain to them what's going on. Try to explain to them what's happening, right? And you start talking about, every single thing is an acronym, and every single thing you cannot tell somebody you're hurting because everything is said in such a different language. It's it's amazing. Shannon Smith says there are so many cultish mindsets. Yeah, but they all do the same thing, don't they? Don't they? They tear you down. They tear you down. They tear you down until you are so pliable that they can now um, take over. Nobody gives it all away all at once. You give it away. How do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. Hi, Idaho Carol. That's just how they destroy lives. It's just one little right. He was such an epic douche. He really was right. They strip all that is you away. Wow. Passenger shaming says I was in est as a kid. Good times. Good God. Do you know something? Uh, passenger shaming. If you're not into this, you're not into this, and that's all good. You're not going to hurt my feelings at all. But if you're willing to talk about that, send me an email to my name at gmail.com, right? Tommy Scope, gmail.com. I've never met anybody who did est. I would love to have that conversation. I'm pretty familiar with est. I knew I had an opportunity to sell est, to sell it. And I had a lot of friends that did. I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. Even in the pitch, right? When you got on stage to do the pitch, you had to bring somebody on stage and bull bait it, right? For lack of a better way to put it, right? You had to bring somebody on stage and bull bait it. And I'm not doing that. I'm not pulling some stranger on stage and telling him he's fat or he's worth it. Man, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need any more hate. Ah, you poor mother, huh? Geoplanet Jane says perverted the language. He absolutely perverted the language. He perverted everything else too. And by the way, if you were on the last show, right, we were talking about this. I hope everybody gets the fact that this dude came up with nothing. You understand? Nothing. There isn't a thought this bastard had that was brand new or creative. He stole from every other religion out there, right? Bottom line, he ripped off every single, philosophy and religion out there. Goosebumps 801 says, "See, Tommy, you've always been a good person. I wasn't on stage yelling at people. I was in the next room telling them they could make $1 million in a couple of weeks selling real estate. I don't think you ought to pat me on the back too hard just yet, right? I'm getting better. I'm certainly a much better person today than I used to be, right? Mara says a thief in the night that left nothing but destruction in his wake. I might leave that one just like that. I think that probably is a good one to leave on. I really do. That's pretty darn solid. All right, peeps. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend some time with me. Means a lot. Can I have my money? Yeah, Shannon Smith. Did I get you on that? If I ever sold you, I apologize. I know I've sold to people. I mean, people have seen me that I've sold to. I guarantee it. I sold to a lot of people. Then they rebranded as Forum. Okay, I didn't know that. Somebody had said another name too. It wasn't Forum. It was crap. Someone will put it up for me though. Tampa Bay is absolutely lovely. Her skincare routine, everybody needs. Landmark. Thank you. That was it. Landmark. So which one is it? Did it become? Did it do I mean, is it change names 3 times? Because a lot of them do. A lot of them do, right? Um, yeah. All right, Crafty Witch. Linsanity, I hope you're, feeling better, hun. Landmark, I gotcha. I gotcha. But it's not like the S call. The thing with S that I found, I mean, it was really a money maker, you know? Wharton Fizzle says, I found myself snickering at my past mischief, and then I did a self check and went, don't entertain the thought. I'll be honest, I don't have criminal thoughts, right? I really don't. It is so rare that I have criminal thoughts. I just don't think it. But I drove by a bank out here, and I'm not saying that I even thought about entertaining the, but all I did was I looked at it and oh my God, did they put that in the wrong place? Like if there's ever been a bank that is screaming to be robbed, and that was just my thought was, wow, I can't believe you would put a bank there. And as I was thinking it, I actually started to feel guilty. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not a healthy. I wasn't thinking about robbing it, but it was one of those things that I looked at and just thought, boy, oh boy, no, they didn't think that one out. Its proximity to roads that go like this. Like it's such an easy place to disappear if you wanted to. Christine, you are welcome. Lori Hart, Casey, Kristen, Melinda, Shannon Smith, all of you. I absolutely love you. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Um, yeah, you know something? My son will not be stripping. I'm going to it. I have if you are an exotic dancer, I am not mad at you. It's a legit way to make a living. Um, if you have done it as a man, it's I promise it's a lot different than doing it as a woman. It really is a very different thing. There are guys out there that are dirtbags that will, grab a woman and right, but it's really different if you're a guy doing it because when people grab you, it's not. It's just yeah, it's But why not? You just get molested, for lack of a better way to put it. You just get molested, and because of the guy thing, you're looked at like you're just a wimp. If you right, you know what you're here for. What do you grab that you? Of course you grab that, but the money's great until you're literally getting your junk. People literally grab at you, and that may sound like it's fun. I promise you, you wouldn't dig it. I promise you, you wouldn't dig it. I hope you're facetious. I will beat that little no. You know what, Brazy? Yeah, Lynn Sanity says keep Brazy in your thoughts, and I would ask everybody to keep Brazy in your thoughts first. I'm not talking about anybody behind their backs. She was been real open and real honest about this, and yeah, yeah. Women are worse. I've told the story. I catch so much crap. I'll do it again. I'll get all of the. I'll get so much funny mail now, but I bailed. So when I quit doing it, I stopped doing like bachelorette parties, and then I stopped dancing at a club for women, and I used to go and dance at for guys, and they couldn't touch you, and you stand on like this little pedestal thing, and you do your whatever. They just throw cash. There's like a velvet rope, and they basically sweep up the money. And I would only do it like 3 days a month, but it was good cash on this. She's gonna if I don't go right now, she's gonna hit the breaker box. I can hear her outside farting with it. So I'm gonna wrap this puppy up. Thank you for spending part of your night with me, people. It means a lot to me, whether you believe it or not. It really does. It means a lot to me. So all of you, I will see you tomorrow. Oh, um, and Bless Your Crochet says, Admiral, I will be talking to the crew tomorrow about forgiving yourself. What would be your words of wisdom to give a crew about forgiving themselves? Uh, the beautiful thing for us about forgiveness, right, is that the things that we do when we're using dope, right, or we're using alcohol or whatever it is that is our poison, so to speak, right? The For me, anyway, forgiveness, self forgiveness gets real easy because who robs a bank? Who robs more than one bank, right? Who does it as a way to make a living? Nobody in their right mind. You with me? Nobody in their right mind robs banks. Nobody in their right mind drinks a fifth of booze in a night. No one in their right mind. If nobody in their right mind does that, then how do you judge someone that's not in their right mind? Honest to God, how do you judge someone? You wouldn't judge me. You wouldn't. You would not judge me. If you knew I was mentally ill, the things that I did while I was mentally ill, you'd probably give me a pass on. Most people do. We give people a pass. In fact, even in court, you can be found not guilty, right, by reason of mental illness. We take it really freaking seriously, don't we? But when it comes time to forgive yourself, the checks I wrote, heroin was signing those checks for real. I wasn't at the wheel. The decisions that were getting made in my life were getting made by an opiate. I came to a really I came to a great place in my life where I realized that I'm not such an asshole. I really am not. Not such a bad dude. But that heroin, man, when I'm on it, the things that I do, I'll steal your wallet and I'll help you look for it. It's just disgusting. But on the bright side, I absolutely know, and I've proven it now for 9 years, that when you remove this crap from my life, I'm a pretty good dude, right? No joke. I'm not a bad dude when dope's not in my life. So I've come to realize that, man, it really is. For a lot of people, it's just the substance. So how am I going to judge somebody, right? Well, if I'm not gonna, I can't judge myself. Yeah, checks out. Trust me. All right, peeps. Tomorrow night, same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. Love you all. Bye bye.